live. This is my second live I'm doing, and very interesting day. So, I was coming back from hanging out with a friend, and I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I should go ahead and just do live every night over the next couple of nights here and sort of do my reps in. So, here I am doing a live every single night. This is the first night of 100 nights that I'm doing it. And what's interesting is whenever you take the time to make a decision and stick by it, it's almost like, I don't know, the world, the universe, I don't know what you want to call it, but just something comes up and sort of challenges that decision in some way. So I get home, spend some time with my wife, get her to bed, and next thing you know, uh, I get into my office, turn on my monitor, all of a sudden, getting ready to stream, and my monitor is not working the way that it should. I update my software, reboot my computer, go again, double second monitor still isn't working. So now all of a sudden, my streaming setup, my recording setup that I've had now for a couple weeks, for whatever reason, stops working the day I'm looking to stream. Anyway, once I get that fixed up, and I'm like, you know what, let me just work with what I have. My phone is low battery, so I usually record using my phone's camera, and now my phone camera is low battery as well, so that isn't working. And I find myself in a position where I'm like, okay, you know what? Am I going to do this? Am I really going to sit down and do these streams 100 nights in a row, which is my goal here? So 100 straight nights of streaming. This is day one. And it's like the very day you make that decision is the very day all this stuff happens. And I can almost say without fail, I don't know what you would call this principle, but it's like whenever you decide to do something, whenever you make a decision, especially one that matters, you will, for whatever reason, come across some form of resistance. And that resistance is a challenge to prove whether or not you are worthy to do what it is that you said that you will do. So here I am. It is now 2:39 a.m. and I'm live. So I'm doing this thing. We're rolling. This is day one. And with that said, guys, welcome to Theory of Entertainment. I'm your man, Lex. And today we are going to take a look at San Diego Comic Con, some of the stuff that came out. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on some of the Marvel DC stuff, mostly Marvel, but I haven't seen the Lanterns trailer, which I think came out during Comic Con as well. So I'm going to look that up as well. But, anyways, let's do this. Oh, man, what a day. So I'm going to go ahead here and share my screen. And the way I want to do this today is I'm going to watch some videos and sort of react to them as they go. And we'll start with Marvel, and then eventually I'll head over to DC as well and give some of my commentary. And then hopefully I can get to bed at a reasonable hour here. With that said, let's get into it. It's good to be. Oh, so yeah, this is Marvel's Hall H. This is a summary straight from Marvel, giving us all the details here. So I'm going to pause throughout the video at each of the different segments. But there's our boy Kevin Feige. Some people love him, some people hate him. What I will say is this is a humbled version of Kevin Feige for sure, in that you can tell that he's really taking things very slowly. I haven't seen him like this since before Avengers 1 in terms of just his demeanor and candor and just how unsure he is. Not in a bad way, but we'll talk more about it as we get through this show here.
Be back here. Just because the lights go out does not mean it's a sign.
This is a character I've wanted to play for a very long time. Director Sean Lee.
Okay, so Ghost Rider is the first announcement here. Yeah, they started out with Ghost Rider. look at that outfit. Man, the outfits sometimes man, like the socks they don't work. But anyways, this isn't a fashion episode. So specifically here, Ghost Rider, definitely a surprise. Wasn't thinking about this, expecting it at all. Sean Levy, I mean, I didn't think of him as an amazing director by any means either. So it is interesting that both of them are coming up on stage here and they're presenting Ghost Rider. In terms of how I feel and my thoughts on this, they're very neutral to none. I don't have any attachment to the original Ghost Rider movie. I know I probably watched it, but from 2000 to 2010, most movies I watched were really hard to just remember. I didn't remember most of them. So when it comes to something like Ghost Rider, I definitely would have checked it out once, maybe twice, but I don't remember a thing from the movies. And I think there might have been a sequel. I know it was Nicolas Cage in it, but yeah, I mean, Ghost Rider is Flaming Skull, supernatural powers. I don't think there's much there to be excited for on my end. And with a lot of these announcements, they get announced, but they don't always come out. So a great example of that is Blade. Mahershala Ali was announced to play Blade, and there was no Blade. And ironically enough, Sean Levy actually did a movie with a Blade in it, and that Blade specifically said, "There's only one Blade, and there's only ever going to be one Blade." Which, I mean, hey, it might be prophetic at this point because we still have not gotten our Blade movie. So it is nice to see that they're announcing the Ghost Rider movie, that they have a director. I don't think they gave a date here, which, I mean, doesn't help anyone in this case. This could just be an announcement that turns into nothing. We don't know. I'm also aware that these two guys were working on a Star Wars movie together. That it looks like they're done filming and it is getting ready to be released. So it looks like Ryan is just going to be Marvel and Star Wars now, which I don't know. Is he the only guy that is in both Marvel and Star Wars? I can't think. I don't know. I know Favreau, he's behind the chair, right, or behind the camera, and he was both sides. But when he went over to Star Wars, he kind of stopped doing as much Marvel stuff. I mean, he was still in front of the camera, but he wasn't directing, right? So I don't know if there is an actor that is both in Marvel and Star Wars at the same time. I can't think of any, but anyway, Ryan Gosling, I genuinely enjoy the actor. I don't watch most of his stuff, but everything I've seen him in, he's been genuinely phenomenal. Great, 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 great actor. Yeah, yeah, he's been impressive, and I've noticed as well. There's been a lot more. Uh, there have been a lot better actors that are coming on board to the MCU. And what I mean by it is, my wife and I were actually having this conversation recently where we were laughing about rom coms and rom com actors in particular. And we noticed that a lot of the romantic comedy actors were actually cast into Marvel movies. And the rom com has sort of disappeared. Instead, you have, Marvel movies, and a lot of Marvel movies have comedy and jokes in them as well, the way a rom com would. So we thought that was kind of interesting. But as some people know, rom com actors tend not to be the greatest thespians, let's say, but they have good comedic timing. They're likable, they look good, which works for a superhero movie. One of the trends I'm starting to notice here, though, is with Mahershala Ali, who was supposed to be Blade, with Ryan Gosling here, and then other announcements as well that are coming up. It seems as though there's a larger focus on really high quality actors as well to be in these films, more so than before. A great example is, God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman, phenomenal actor prior to joining the MCU. Very, very good. And then he went in and, gave a pretty solid Black Panther performance. But they usually didn't get, again, these really solid actors. They usually got the rom com people or the people that haven't really done anything, like Chris Hemsworth's Thor when they first got him. So it's really nice to see sort of that evolution in terms of getting better quality in front of the camera in terms of those skill sets. One thing I will say as well, and I'm going to get to this probably a little bit later, but the directors at Marvel, I think, are probably the most underrated batch of directors and probably the most underrated aspect of the MCU right now, which I'm going to get to as we kind of see more of this video here and get to more of what happened at San Diego Comic-Con.
December
5th. Talking about movies that are coming out in the future, right? That's what we're doing here.
Okay. So that was Spider-Man Brand New Day. I have did I? Yeah, I did. I think I did see the trailer for this for Brand New Day. The last two trailers, the Comic-Con one and the one prior. I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. Very, very much excited. I'm going to watch it on Thursday night with my wife, and when I do my live stream, I'll do a spoiler-free talk on it, and then I think maybe sometime early next week or maybe Saturday night, I don't know, one of these nights when I get to watch it again a second or third time, I will then do a more spoiler uh, talk surrounding this movie. But this thing is looking incredible. I really think that this is going to be the best superhero movie we've seen in a long time, and we've had some solid ones. I would say the past year or so, and solid is like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. So solid uh, films. I think this one's going to be th- the best Spider-Man movie we've had, and that's saying something. So yeah, we'll see. I still don't know yet. I'm waiting to check it out, but from everything I've seen from Brand New Day, it's pretty epic. And one thing I can say with Marvel right now and with Feige and the team is that they're really, really, really taking their time on these projects currently, and they're really focusing on a very small number, and it's showing in terms of the quality level. And they're also really, really, really reaching out to fans and making sure that they're putting stuff in there that their most hardcore fans actually want. And there's a lot of that in Spider-Man Brand New Day. There's a comment I heard a lot online about how Spider-Man No Way Home, being one of the few movies to gross over $1 billion in these past couple of years, that movie is really a Sony movie, and because it's a Sony movie, that you can't attribute any of the credit of that movie's success to Marvel, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. The reason being is that the creative team behind these Spider-Man movies is at Marvel. The whole reason that they're working with Marvel in the first place is to use Marvel's creative team. And if that creative team was essentially, if they lost their sauce, let's say, uh, they wouldn't have been able to create a movie as good as Far From Home, right? Is it Far From Home? No Way Home. They wouldn't have been able to create a movie as good as No Way Home. What happens, at least what it seems to be the case, is that they, at Marvel at least, did a poor job of transferring their knowledge and transferring what they knew to others that they were bringing on board to the team. So when they would have these different projects that had new heads and new producers and so on, it looks like those did really, really poorly because they just did not understand how to write characters and how to care for a character, which was Marvel's strong suit prior to the end of the Infinity Saga. And it seems as though, at least with the last few outings that Marvel has had, that is back. But what we've noticed is that they just canceled a lot of stuff and have really honed in and focused on particular projects here. So with that said, Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming out. It's looking to be very special. I'm very much excited for it, and looking forward to doing a bunch of content on that movie whenever it drops. And lastly, uh, the director for this film, Dustin Daniel Cretton, I think is his name. He also directing Shang-Chi. He was supposed to direct Avengers before the Russos came back. And he did a pretty solid job with Shang-Chi. Of all the Marvel movies that came out over the last couple of years, it's probably one of the best two to three of them, definitely in the top five of Marvel movies that have come out. And Marvel liked them so much that they gave him a promotion to do Doomsday. Turns out that Russo's came back and took that movie away from him. But Spider-Man Brand New Day is not that much of a downgrade, and it looks as though he took this one really, really, really seriously and was like, "I'm gonna crush this thing." Almost like he felt like he was slighted from losing Doomsday, and is like going hard to kind of show his stuff here. And yeah, this movie's looking incredible. But you're now looking at a second director here from Marvel that is a very solid director that they have in house. And the theme that's going to go throughout this showing here is that Marvel does have really solid directors that can deliver really good stuff. And I think that's incredibly important, especially nowadays, in the current landscape. And yeah, it just so happens as well that those directors are diverse, I guess you could say. But yeah, they have some really solid directors uh, under the helm. There's at least 3 to 4 of them. And realistically, if you're only releasing 1 to 2 movies a year, that's all you need for a really, really good franchise. And in particular, here, before I end, uh, this is the strongest crop of directors that they've had in the entire MCU's history, actually, in terms of just a group of directors that are really, really solid. And then, yeah, the actors as well. This is probably the strongest group of actors they've put together. Uh, not, I'm not necessarily counting the last couple of years, but specifically the group they have now and the people that they're bringing on board now and the people we've already seen on stage. That group of actors is some of the best that they've been putting together. And of course, the old school people came back as well. So yeah, let's continue here.
Right, that's what we're doing here.
And the real reason we're all here, Avengers Doomsday. So yeah, let's get into what they're going to show here. But man, Doomsday is shaping up to be something else.
We're gonna need some help. Guys, can you come join us?
And without further delay, Robert Downey Jr.
Who's this guy with the sword?
Okay, so before we get to Ryan, yeah, I mean, they're really playing up this cast and they're really playing up this huge, huge cast of characters, which makes sense. This is unprecedented in the sense that they got a lot of people back together, a lot of really good actors all together, all in one space, a lot of experienced actors specifically in the superhero space. And then to lead that group, they have Robert Downey Jr., who's probably the greatest to ever do it in a superhero movie, to be honest. Yeah, that's an incredible selling point. It's just the cast. It makes sense. Now, and there's the whole cameo stuff and, whether or not that's going to ruin the movie, but it looks as though that's not the case and that all the characters in the movie are there for particular purposes that will make sense throughout the film. And that's really exciting to take a look at and to see. Because yeah, this is this is such a ensemble, and they understand that their hook here. So the hook for this film is really, what in the world are you doing with all these characters, and why are they all together? And I think that's a strong enough hook, at least, to get butts in seats, and that's why they're pushing for that. And I think Marvel's hope here is that the quality of the film is strong enough to where the people that are in those seats, recommend someone else and want to come see it again. They almost know that people are going to give it a chance and show up. That opening weekend, this is doing 200-300 million almost easy without blinking, right? And it's a matter of whether or not there's a good response from that 200-300 million to where you get an additional billion off of that. And that's, I guess, what their bet is here. And I mean, yeah, so far so good in terms of what I'm seeing when it comes to the quality of the film.
And stuff.
So I also think here, there's something here that's key with Deadpool's appearance. His costume is gray, not just any gray, but Jean gray, right? Is the Pantone color that was being shown on Twitter from Ryan Reynolds. I think it was from Ryan, and it shows that he's signaling to the audience. He should have made a joke to Scott Summers somewhere in there, like, "Hey, do you like my outfit?" Something like that. But it seems as though they're signaling that there's something important about Jean Grey specifically that we need to figure out, because there's no Jean Grey on stage, but allegedly there's a Jean Grey that we're supposed to see eventually. So there's something there with that character that's important that is being pointed out with Deadpool here. And I can almost guarantee he's in the movie. He's not just showing up there. He's in the movie, probably just a cameo at the beginning or the middle or end, but I think he's in the movie just very briefly.
First question is for Mr. Paul Rudd. Where is Thor and why was he crying?
And like Kevin likes to say,
Okay. Yeah, so where's Thor and why was he crying? That's from the Deadpool movie, where Deadpool's in an Avengers movie and Deadpool was dead and Thor was crying and all of that. So something's coming up with him. Probably Secret Wars, but I think there'll be at least some hints of him showing up in that movie. So another thing as well here, and this kind of leads to what I was talking about with Marvel's crop of directors. So this is by far, I think, their most exciting and best director that they have on the team, other than the Russo brothers. I still think the Russo brothers, uh, what they've shown they've been able to do with superhero movies is uncanny, absolutely uncanny. So I can't poo-poo the Russos, but Ryan Coogler gets better with every film. Genuinely gets better with every single film, significantly, and it's amazing to watch. Absolutely incredible to see. Like that first Black Panther movie, I think at the time, even up until now, is the highest rated Marvel movie in terms of critic scores, right? Critic reviews. And you can say what you want about what the critics were saying, but there's something there, at least when it comes to the quality of that first Black Panther movie, especially considering how inexperienced he was at the time with doing big blockbuster films. At the time, I don't think he really did anything that huge at all. Creed was, I think, his biggest thing. So he learned a ton from that. I mean, I haven't watched Sinners yet, but it did insanely well as well when that came out. So all pointing to Ryan just continually improving and improving with each movie, which Black Panther 3 now is going to be, I don't know, his magnum opus maybe. Rumors are Denzel is showing up at some point in the movie. Rumors are that, he's going to have certain X-Men in the film as well. This is going to be post Secret Wars, so there's just so much in here. He has essentially a full toolbox to play with. Like the keys are in his court. He can do whatever he wants. It's one of the first movies in the rebooted MCU. He literally can do whatever he wants. And yeah, that's really powerful. Like I can't stress this enough. This movie, Black Panther 3, is going to absolutely crush it. Like there's no question about it, because the momentum from those two Avengers movies leading up into this one is going to be absolutely insane. And also, I think Ghost Rider, it was announced first here, but I think it's also being released before Black Panther, if I'm not mistaken, which means that it has a chance to do a billion as well, just by the fact that it is coming after an Avengers movie. Fun fact no one ever talks about, I think every single film, like, no, seriously, every single film that has been released in the MCU after an Avengers movie has gone on to gross $1 billion, including Captain Marvel. Like every single movie that comes out after an Avengers movie just grosses $1 billion. So if you're coming off of two Avengers movies, both of them going several $1 billion, then you have a Ghost Rider movie also doing $1 billion. Then you have Black Panther 3, most likely would do $1 billion after that point. So you're looking at maybe 4, 5 of these in a row that are putting up these numbers, which to me, at least, is a very, very big deal. And that's not even counting Brand New Day. So, yeah, we're really in for a whirlwind the next 3, yeah, let's say 3 years or so here, in terms of just it raining money over at Marvel Studios.
say there is one more thing. I want you guys to give a warm welcome to our new Black Panther, Mr. David Johnson.
Thank you to this amazing family that I have the honor, the privilege, and the blessing to join.
Okay, so it looks like it ends there with David Johnson. So I have no idea who this guy is. I've never seen him before. My first initial thought seeing him here was that I felt he didn't have the physicality for the role in terms of his build. His shoulders didn't seem that broad, and he's a little shorter as well by maybe 3, 4, 5 inches. Uh, Seemingly, I thought from that image that I thought he was maybe 5'6", 5'7". I looked it up online. He's closer to 5'9", at least what's being reported there. So when it comes to that, he's a little bit taller. He'll have to bulk up for the role for sure. Uh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, my biggest thing is he just seems smaller, right? Later, you don't see it in that clip there, but he was standing next to Letitia Wright. She had heels on, and they were about the same size. Well, with her having her heels on, so at least for me, what that told me was that yeah, that height thing might be an issue on screen if he's standing next to guys like Thor and uh, Doctor Doom and whoever, right? Just all these other larger, bigger characters. Casting someone who has that frame and that height is huge. Like M'Baku, for example, you didn't need to have him that big, but there's something about that presence on screen and on camera that says something. Like that first Black Panther movie, just his presence alone spoke volumes. Every scene he was in, just the way he was able to be on camera and give off a certain energy, right? Now I hear David Johnson's an incredible actor from what I'm hearing from people who know of him. We'll have to see. I mean, I haven't seen anything he's in yet, but overall, I think the biggest thing is that they have a Black Panther that wants to be Black Panther. From what I hear, Letitia Wright wasn't too happy about having to play that role, and I think that the character overall is built to be played by a male character. I just think that he is, and it's pretty obvious that that's the case. And that's also why mantles tend not to work very well, especially when you're transferring genders, because those characters initially are made to be male characters. And then when you insert a female into that role, they're still borrowing all the exact same traits from the male character, which gives them almost nothing feminine to work with. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's a problem that almost all these derivative characters have. Supergirl has a similar problem as well. Even though she's not really a replacement for Clark, she does have the issue that she's receiving the exact same power set. Clark's power set in particular are powers that are designed to be representative of a male, a strong male who's able to defend. Uh, Essentially the entire society, right? That's who the character is. So by switching that into a female character, you're not starting off at a feminine standpoint. You're not starting off in a place where the character has a chance to succeed. And then if you don't have a very conscious writer who's able to then insert a lot of feminine traits to the work, at that point you're left with nothing. So yeah, overall, I think that's the gist of the importance, at least, of making sure that you do have a you know a well thought out character. Okay, what time is it here? Okay, 3:08. I am just gonna double check the comments here and head into the next video. And I think I'm gonna call it a night after this Lanterns trailer, just because it is getting pretty late, and I'm not trying to wake folks up here. So hold on. I'm also speaking a little lower here, lower than usual, to make sure that I'm able to get my point across, but not wake up everyone. It's like a ASMR sounding. I hope it's not too ASMR sounding. Okay, so Lanterns is what it's called, right? Okay. Funny how Yeah, they took the green out of it. All right, so apologize for any ads that show up. Nice. Interesting that there was no ads. All right, let's do this. Okay, something's happening with the internet. I don't know what that was. It's cutting off the playback speed, but it looks like who's he playing again? Jon Stewart was asleep, being woken up violently with water, probably by his trainer Hal Jordan. That's my guess. But yeah,
it's time to get up, Junior.
Okay, so I'm gonna refresh the page here. That doesn't usually happen. Like I said, right? You go and decide to do something, and next thing you know, there's some sort of interference. All right, there we go. Looks like it's working properly now. Let's do this.
It's time to get up, Junior.
So, you're a space cop.
No, I'm just being trained. All right,
Okay, so I'm actually going to be forced to pause it here because of these whatever's going on with my internet. This is nuts. So far, meh is what I'll say. Not very interesting yet. I don't understand who he was talking to about the space cop stuff. That was a little random. I don't know you'd be talking about that with just a random person. But let's give it a chance here. What is going on? What is going on? Like, okay, let me just run a speed test here. This is super strange. Yeah, I'm getting 300 down, 360 down. And yet my trailer, for whatever reason, seems to be freezing up. Make this make sense, people. What is going on?
Listen, take the ring. You fly.
Just fly.
I'm sorry. Fly, please.
So it's interesting. I didn't know they could just like give the ring up that easily to anyone to start using. I thought the ring chose the wearer and it wouldn't use it unless that wearer is using it, or I don't know. I guess maybe that'll be explained here, but yeah, that's interesting. The other part too is the whole training aspect of it. I wasn't aware that they did that either. I mean, I guess they do, right? But these guys should be lanterns for the same sector. DC experts, correct me if I'm wrong here. So how would that work out? Because only one of them is supposed to have the ring. I don't know. I don't know.
What's that?
You're the backup quarterback.
For now. What do you think is going on?
It's no accident. We're here. These victims are gonna end up being alien.
Based on what?
I have a feeling.
He has a feeling.
I think this is more than just...
This is nuts. I honestly don't know what's going on here, guys. Like, we just watched that other video, no problem, no issues at all. For whatever reason, this trailer is taking forever to load. If it's even loading at all, look at this buffering. Like, what is going on? I'm going to refresh it one more time. Out here.
No one's ever seen...
Okay, yeah, looks better.
What do you know about manhunters?
Where'd you hear that word?
Manhunters are the most dangerous beings to ever exist in the galaxy. They could take the form of any species.
So it could be anyone.
He's gonna send an army to put you down.
Do you resent Hal Jordan?
The ring's always been mine. Jordan's just keeping it warm.
Sinestro.
You don't really believe he's your backup, do you, Hal?
No.
Let's say what he actually is.
My replacement. In brightest day. In blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. Full our beer.
Okay, so we played it all the way through. It looks like I might have to get some Hobo Max. Yeah, just to check it out. So much better trailer than the first one. Looks like a lot of the effects were finished in there. What I'll say is that overall, I don't necessarily like the presentation of the show. Not enough pops visually, which is unfortunate. I like nice visuals. I think everyone likes nice visuals, so that will definitely affect it. And the dramatic scenes and the drama overall is really gonna have to shine through here, which is fine. It has to be some really good drama. It's just that, yeah, I don't know how well this is going to work out. It looks like the Achilles heel is going to be basically anything superhero related in regards to the action, in regards to sort of any of the fights, and yeah, maybe some of the lore stuff as well. Might take a hit in this show. When it comes to themes, it looks like there are some brewing in regards to mentorship in particular, and I guess a reluctant mentor in Hal Jordan. And I think what they're going to do with Hal as a character is showcase him as this reluctant mentor who doesn't want to sort of have a replacement essentially be there, and that he doesn't want to actually mentor him. But in reality, I think what his character is going to be is someone who does want to be a good mentor that will teach his mentee things that he wish he knew, and teach his mentee in a way that he wishes he wasn't taught. There's a scene in there where he's speaking to Sinestro, and from what I understand, Sinestro is supposed to be his mentor, was his mentor prior, right? So you kind of see like this lineage going on from Sinestro to then Hal to then what's his name? John Stewart. And John Stewart sort of meant to represent the best of them. And you kind of get like these three generations, right? You have Sinestro, who might sort of represent like that boomer generation. You have Hal Jordan, who's definitely representing Gen X, right? And they haven't really shown a lot of the characterization for John Stewart, but he's likely representing maybe that millennial generation, right? So you kind of have all three of those represented within those three characters. And I think you're going to see some interesting interplay there. And I wonder if there's going to be any sort of meta commentary that's sort of applied in some way in that sense. And I think the most interesting aspect of this show is the themes surrounding mentorship and what they want to do with that, and how they're going to showcase that. And I think they have a really nice opportunity here, at least with Hal Jordan, in terms of setting him up to be, yeah, like that reluctant mentor that it seems like he doesn't care, but in reality, he actually does care and wants the best for him. I think a good example of this, in terms of how this was done, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse. So if you remember in that movie, you had Pete, who was like older Peter, who was a reluctant mentor. He didn't want to mentor Miles. He didn't want to have to go through that process. And part of that was because he also didn't want to be a father. And that kind of related with him becoming a father. And in turn, by him mentoring Miles, it helped him to overcome that hump to the point in which he was ready to then become a father later on. And that's sort of his arc throughout that series, right? And it's kind of, ham-fisted in the sequel in terms of, that being his arc. But at least in that first film, they do talk about that in that kind of way. So in a similar way to how you have Peter Parker mentoring Miles Morales, it looks like you have Hal Jordan mentoring John Stewart, right? And I'm interested to see how they're going to go about that and how they're going to represent both characters. It looks like as well they are going for two different archetypes for those two characters. Hal Jordan is more of like that renegade, that character that will act first, ask questions later, and sort of figure things out as they go. Whereas Hal Jordan is more along the lines of a paragon type of character, which is a character that tends to, think things through and then act, as well as be sort of self-aware of what they're doing, and others as well, and tries to, as much as possible, do the right thing at the right time. They're really sort of showcasing him to be that kind of lantern and that kind of character. And you see that a lot as well with some characters like this. But that's kind of the angle they're going for here. And it's interesting to see because it's the same archetypes as well that they had in Spider-Verse, where Pete was playing that more of a renegade approach, and Miles was more of that paragon approach. So it looks like they're going for that here as well. A lot of that back and forth. So there's proof that it can work. At least we've seen it in the film, in other films, and I think that we can see it here as well in this show. What those other things had going for them, at least what the Spider-Verse stuff had going for it, was the animation and the visuals were absolutely incredible. And those matter as well alongside these dynamics. Overall, we'll see what we think of Lanterns and how well it does. So far, I'll use this last segment here to talk a little bit about the DCU. Let me just close my screen share. Stop. Okay. So from what I understand, DC didn't have much going on at Comic-Con this year. At least they're filming TV. James Gunn didn't even show up. And overall, they sort of were taking it easy. They knew it was Marvel's day to sort of crush it. And overall, my thoughts on DC, I am a little frustrated personally in that I was expecting a bit more from them up until this point. I actually honestly thought leading up until last year's Superman movie that they were about to not only revive the genre with that film, but take the lead past Marvel. It had the opportunity to do that. But unfortunately, some decisions within the film held it back slightly. I think there's other factors as well, like people's thoughts on America overall probably affecting the worldwide gross of that movie. Those definitely affected it too. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing for me and why I'm down on DC right now is they don't really have any projects going. And you kind of see it with Marvel as well, where they have a small number of projects that they're being very careful with, that they're not announcing a slate of like 8 movies in a row like they used to. Even DC, I think earlier on a couple of years ago, they had announced a bunch of these movies for this universe, and the vast majority of those films are like canceled at this point. Shows, whatever was announced with DC is all canceled, and not only that, but the choice of what was in there was really bad. Like Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, like Waller, like what is this? Right? Like in terms of the choices, they were not the best things to lead with. And I was sort of giving Gunn a chance to see what can he cook up. Maybe he can create some cult classics from all of these different, obscure franchises. It turns out none of those seem to be the case. I mean, not that I'm aware of, at least. And now here we are leading up into Man of Tomorrow, and there's negative momentum for the DCU. Like Supergirl's numbers are a reflection of that film in part, but they're also a reflection of people's feelings towards DC currently. And it looks like they're not good overall. And it's really unfortunate because I was gunning for Gunn, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was gunning for him to be successful. I wanted to be successful. And right now, going into Man of Tomorrow, I haven't seen any trailers or anything like that. I don't think anything's really out. And I am gonna give it a chance for sure. But that's not the issue. Even if Man of Tomorrow does $1 billion, the problem is that there's nothing in the pipeline. There's nothing in development. Nothing in development that's going to do anything like that I'm aware of. Clayface looks really cool, but nonetheless, it's still the same problem. I don't see, I don't see what they can do here to close that gap, right? And unless James starts announcing a couple more movies after Man of Tomorrow and they start working on those, we don't really have anything here. And I think what really takes the cake as well is it seems as though it's been a lot of talk on his end, and there was some stuff he announced earlier on where he said they wouldn't start filming a movie without a script, and whatever has a script that's good is what they will start filming. And one of the biggest issues with the most recent Supergirl movie did involve some narrative stuff that should have been caught earlier on, let's just say. And yeah, the fact that that wasn't caught by James or anyone on the team, to me, is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And yeah, where I'm at right now is, at least I have lost faith in Gunn and the team and what they're doing. So we'll see what happens. They can prove me wrong here with their upcoming slate that they have. Lanterns does look cool. I'm going to consider checking it out. But overall, man, yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's some sort of announcement for some big characters, and those big characters getting their own film, and something going on, a path to Justice League in some way, because we're coming up on, like, what, 4 or 5 years now of this happening, and yeah, there just isn't anything going on. So very, very unfortunate. But overall, that's it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel DC, and what's happened so far. I'm looking forward to ultimately, what's to come out. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm pretty tired right now, to be honest. I'm gonna call it a night. But overall, solid stuff. With that said, guys, this is another episode of Theory of Entertainment. I'm gonna leave you guys here. Tomorrow is Wednesday, or I guess today now, since it's today is Wednesday. I will be doing another stream as well for those who want to catch it. I'm going to be gunning for between 11 and 12, film around there, recorded around there. But ultimately, I'll have something more cooked up for that stream. For now, I just wanted to kind of react to some of this stuff and kind of give my thoughts on what happened this past weekend with San Diego Comic-Con. Wow. Okay. I really got to start streaming earlier. Anyways, guys, it's your man Lex. No such thing as entertainment, and I'm out.